I showed up to a small family dinner and found 80 guests, a banner for baby Emily, and my bonus gone. Mom laughed, we spent it on family joy. I stayed silent. That night, I froze their accounts, reversed 14 transactions, and took back every penny. By morning, the house was no longer theirs. My mom was all smiles, looking like she'd just won an Oscar. She shouted surprise, with her arms wide open. Then, she lowered her voice just a touch, but still loud enough for everyone near the shrimp platter to catch. We spent your bonus on family joy. She laughed like she'd just delivered the punchline of the century. Meanwhile, I was just standing there, frozen in the doorway. I hadn't even told them about the bonus. I'd mentioned getting a raise and a good quarter, but not the actual check or the number. All I managed to say was noted, but nobody caught my flat tone. They were all too busy dancing around in pastel colors. Emily, my sister, looked like royalty in her white lace dress. Yep, the same sister who didn't pay me back for rent last year and called me a cold calculator at Christmas because I didn't tear up at that cheesy Hallmark movie she made everyone watch. After the last guest took their gift bag and the sad, sagging balloons were all that was left, I logged into my bank account. No yelling, no crying, I just froze every joint account, reversed 14 transactions, and quietly withdrew my whole $9,800 bonus from the family savings account I'd foolishly agreed to set up last year. Legally, it wasn't theft, just correcting a mistake with my peace of mind in mind. By morning, something felt different at home, not just the way the garbage bags were stacked like broken promises. There was a sticky note on my old room's door, written in my mom's handwriting. Please don't overreact. We did it for Emily. She's family. She needs this. I left the note where it was, grabbed my laptop, and sat on the guest bed to open a folder I swore I'd never touch, receipts. If they wanted to mess with my bonus in the name of family joy, they were about to learn what that really costs. I went radio silent for 5 days after that awkward family dinner, no texts, no calls, just me and my Google Sheets file documenting every single dollar I'd sent their way since 2021. $6,300 for rent, $2,480 for medical bills, $1,900 for Emily's emergency car repair, $125 a month for groceries. Even my mom's wine subscription was still on my card. I was their walking ATM with Wi-Fi. On day 6, my sister called and I ignored it. Then my mom left a voicemail. Honey, we know you're upset, but you're overreacting. It was just a dinner. Emily's having a baby. She needs support right now. We thought you'd be happy. I listened to that message 5 times. Not a single thank you or apology. I decided to stop by, not because I missed them, but because I had questions. When I pulled up to their place, Emily's new SUV was parked out front. The same one she said she couldn't afford a down payment for 2 months ago. I recognized the dealership sticker because I'd been there. I'd co-signed for it. She'd told me it was for job interviews. Turns out, she wasn't interviewing, she was throwing influencer brunches with pastel macaron and overpriced centerpieces. I saw the Instagram reels. I walked in without knocking. Hey, Emily said, smiling at the dining table, surrounded by boxes from Baby Bloom. Look who's finally here, she chirped. My dad, busy at the kitchen island, looked up. Don't be dramatic. Your sister's pregnant, right? I fired back, so that makes it okay to blow my bonus on a fake baby shower with 80 guests? He scoffed, it's called giving back to the family. Try it sometime. I stared at him, I gave you $9,800. What, you want a parade? He snapped. My mom chimed in, we thought it'd be good for everyone. Joy brings blessings. All I could say was, joy brings overdraft fees. Then Emily, smiling like a Netflix drama villain, stood up and said, you always make it about you. Just admit it, you hate seeing other people happy. That was the moment. I realized they'd never change. I left and that night, I dug into a hard drive I'd been meaning to sort through for months. It was backed up from before I'd moved out, and turns out, Emily had used it once. She backed up her entire laptop and forgot to delete it. I found everything, screenshots of our texts edited to make me look bad, voicemails pieced together with different tones to fake threats. There was a folder labeled insurance claims with fake receipts listing me as a witness. Another one labeled bonuses had a photo of a whiteboard with if we say he gifted it, it's legally clean scrawled on it. I printed everything and started a folder called Family Ledger. The next morning, my dad texted me, Emily said you were digging through old files. Let it go. Don't do something you'll regret. I replied, too late. Should have thought of that before the Shrimp Tower. Then, things got worse. I checked my credit report and saw 3 new inquiries, all from banks in their city. So, My mom tried to open a credit card using my name and my social security number. I saw the handwriting on the scanned application and could tell it was hers. She even did a terrible job forging my signature. So, I hit up the family group chat with some screenshots and timestamps, and I told them they had 48 hours to explain before I sent the message. Right after I sent it, my aunt bailed from the group, Emily went off saying it was harassment, my dad gave a thumbs up emoji, and my mom accused me of tearing the family apart. Anyway, 47 hours later, my bank called about a blocked $4,500 wire transfer to something called the Harris Family Trust. Never even heard of it. They asked if I knew an E. Harris, which is my sister, Emily. I told them I never approved any transfer and filed a fraud report. 10 minutes later, Emily emailed me with a subject line saying, "This is not what Mom wanted," but didn't bother writing anything in the message. I didn't reply. By Friday, everything was falling apart. Family friends started reaching out, my uncle and even a cousin I hadn't talked to since 2014. Someone hit me up on LinkedIn with a snarky "hope all is well." Heard some weird things. Yeah, weird, like when you scam your own kid to throw a fake baby shower or forge documents in his name. That weekend, I sat down with a family lawyer. I had all the evidence ready, documents, texts, everything. She took one look and said, "Leverage." Then she asked me what I wanted. I just smiled and said I wanted an ending with a bang. By Friday morning, my dad texted me. "No greetings, just a blunt let's talk man to man, workshop 7 p.m. The workshop wasn't some metaphor, it was the actual shed behind their house. I showed up, and there he was, sitting with a beer and a cigarette. He asked if I was finally dropping the drama. I told him no, I wanted to see if he had the guts to talk to me. He chuckled and said I shouldn't start. He said Emily was pregnant and asked if I really wanted her to have a baby amidst all this scandal. He kept going on about how we should keep things quiet, no lawyers, no banks, just deal with things ourselves. Then he tossed in the real reason he wanted to talk, he wanted me to drop the fraud claim. I pulled out my tablet and played a recording. It was his voice, plotting with my mom on a call. His face went pale. He tried to say it was out of context, so I hit him with more evidence, a loan application with his handwriting, Emily's Instagram bragging about her silent investor's guilt bonus. He finally stopped drinking and mumbled that Emily had always needed help. I flat out asked if that justified robbing me. Then I dropped a manila envelope on the table with a copy of the fraud report, telling him the original was with the investigator. And then the door creaked open. In walked Jake, Emily's ex, the guy she claimed was abusive. He nodded at me and said, "Thought you might want to hear some things." He had his own folder of proof, emails, screenshots, audio. One clip at Emily admitting to using my name for paperwork. My dad was shocked, saying he didn't know. I told him he chose not to know and then looked him straight in the eye. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you. So, here's how it all went down. I was done, absolutely done. Not just for the week or month, but forever. I walked out into the evening like I was in some dramatic movie scene. Jake, in his usual calm but razor-sharp way, shouted after me, "Hey Jack, if you lot come after me again, I'm going public." The next morning, something felt different about the old property. There was this bright orange notice slapped on the front door, saying something about selling shared interest and, legal stuff, definitely not a friendly little note. By midday, Emily had blown up my phone with 23 calls. My mom left me 3 emotional voice notes, all filled with tears, while my dad played it cool with just one text, "You're making a mistake you can't walk back from." I didn't even bother replying. Instead, I dropped a bomb. A folder named Family Transparency Initiative went online. No drama, no hashtags, just plain truths. Inside, there were PDFs, screenshots, recordings, and everything. It had loan docs with my name on them, clips of Emily admitting to playing me, photos of a baby shower that cost nearly $10,000 from my paycheck, and a detailed timeline of all the lies and humiliations. Oh, and the kicker, a letter from the county showing I sold my 50% of the house to some legal firm. They didn't even know I still had a piece of the pie. The fallout was swift. A neighbor snapped a pic of that orange notice and tossed it on Facebook with a caption like "Harris House in trouble." Another one chimed in, saying it's about time someone stood up to them. By that afternoon, a local blog hit me up about the docs, wanting a statement. I gave them this single-liner, "Sometimes you have to burn the legacy to escape the inheritance." They ran with it as the headline. That night, my mom unleashed a full-blown Facebook rant, calling me ungrateful and saying I betrayed the family. She even shared an old, embarrassing picture of me from 2009 with braces and zits, basically saying, I raised this boy, and this is my thanks. It got 14 likes, all from family I hadn't heard from in ages. Teresa added with, sending prayers. Stay strong. I just logged into LinkedIn and cut off every family connection. 3 days later, Emily posted a video with those perfect tears and dramatic music, talking about how I used to be her best friend and now she doesn't recognize me. The comments were savage, calling her out for being the girl who faked DMs and forged loan papers. Someone even synced her voice from a leaked audio with baby shower pics. The internet did its thing, turning drama into content. And this time, they were spot on. Then Jake texted me a week later, saying she claimed to be pregnant again, probably just another lie. I blocked her and he said, you did the right thing, man. Wish I had your guts. But I didn't feel like a winner. Just clear. There's definitely a difference. My dad stayed quiet the longest, until I got a letter with no return address. It said, you think you've won. You haven't. Men like you always crawl back when the silence gets too loud. You'll come crawling back. Signed off as the man who made you. I had a good laugh because he didn't make me, he tried to break me. What made me was all those silent moments, the pretending, and keeping my mouth shut while they bled me dry in the name of love. The law firm that snagged half the house sent them a formal pay up or move out in 90 days letter. Turns out having a silent partner can be super annoying. I forwarded that to Emily with a short note, you threw a $10,000 party. Let's see how you handle tax season. She sent back a single emoji. I didn't even bother blocking her. Couldn't care less. That weekend, I posted one last update, just a pic, no caption. It was of a new sign outside my apartment building for my new studio downstairs, Burn Ledger, Personal Strategy and Digital Forensics. It's a name for anyone going through what I did. I want to show them how to fight back. The check for $117,428 hit my account that Thursday, compensation, not a gift. It took months of depositions, court stuff, and audits. But justice? It doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be final. The judge took 5 minutes to read the verdict. The defendant knowingly used my identity to forge financial docs for personal gain. Full stop. So, my dad ended up owing more money than he bargained for, plus penalties and extra costs. He didn't even bother to show up at the final hearing. Instead, he sent a message through his lawyer basically saying, I'm not playing this game, it's unfair. Emily was there too, sitting quietly in the corner, kind of like she'd just bombed an audition. She was silent this time, no tears, just a tight-lipped expression. My mom was watching the hearing like she hoped someone would step in and stop it, but no one did anything. By the next morning, there was a for sale sign in front of our house. A week later, new owners moved in, tore up the flower beds, ripped out the mailbox, and painted the shutters black. It didn't feel like a home anymore, it was as if they were erasing us. That afternoon, my lawyer called to say the money was transferred and I'd get confirmation soon. Legally, they couldn't contact me anymore, and if they did, I was to let her know. I thanked her, and she mentioned she'd never seen a case go this smoothly. I didn't have anything left to say. My conscience was clear. That evening, I found myself sitting on the floor of my new office. It was quiet and uncluttered. The company sign I'd ordered arrived earlier that day. I carefully unwrapped it and read the name, Burn Ledger, Strategic Recovery and Risk Defense. I drilled it into the door myself, symbolizing my choice not to seek revenge but to find peace. A week later, I got a letter at my old P.O. box. It was a mess, with a torn envelope, saying, you've made your point. We lost the house. Emily's struggling, and Mom's not doing well. If family still matters to you, give us a call. I put the letter back, sealed the envelope, and shredded it. That day, I closed the last joint account I had with them. The banker asked if I was sure, since it was permanent. I nodded, that was the point. I signed the final account closure form and handed her a note to notify all cardholders that the account was no longer active. The next morning, Emily tried to charge $112.99 at a baby store, but it got declined. She texted me, saying she'd pay me back if I stopped all this. I replied with the amount she owed, $1,942.16. She didn't reply. They didn't return the full sum, but the court decided on the penalty. The real victory wasn't the money, it was the silence. No more late-night calls, no more guilt trips, and no more being their fallback plan. They tried to use family ties as leverage, but I had let go of that part of myself. That Friday, I changed my phone number and only gave it to 3 people. The old number was still tied to the joint Netflix account that my mom forgot to cancel. Let her figure out why it says, "This profile is no longer available." Lastly, I donated $2,000 from the settlement to a legal defense fund for adult victims of family-based financial abuse. I didn't tell anyone, I just clicked submit and moved on. Then I stepped out onto my balcony with a cup of coffee, soaking in the quiet. For the first time in years, I wasn't calculating anything, just breathing. Some stories end with making up, but mine ends with clarity. I'm not guilty for being used, I'd be guilty if I stayed. They called it betrayal, but I see it as freedom. They thought I'd come crawling back, but I didn't. I cashed the check, changed the locks, and didn't look back.